Welcome to the Weather Guru's update, tropical update, and current weather hazard update for June 24th and 25th, 2023. Thank you for joining me. Please be sure to subscribe to this channel for the latest interpretation of weather data that comes out. And we'll be sure to appreciate all the support and love that we get here at the Weather Guru channel. Now we have Bret that is disintegrated. The remnants of Bret is now moving west at 21 miles an hour. It's no longer, it's the last advisory. It's no longer a tropical storm or tropical depression. It's just the remnants of Bret. It moved through the ABC islands of Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao, providing heavy and beneficial rain to them before disintegrating into the graveyard of the Eastern Caribbean Sea, as many storms do this time of year, late June. Cindy, on the other hand, is moving at a brisk pace northwestward of the Lesser Antilles now, and a couple hundred miles east, and it will continue on its journey northwestward. Now, winds are at 60 miles an hour. It will continue to maintain tropical storm strength. It's not forecast right now to be a hurricane. However, things could change depending on how conditions of the Bermuda High affects it as it continues to steer towards that direction. Interest in Bermuda should monitor the storm closely out in the mid-Atlantic or eastern Atlantic. Bermuda it's generally pretty well accustomed to storms, as you know. It's fortified, but Cindy may pose beneficial rains and some winds, gusty winds that could approach hurricane strength as it makes its way around there sometime on Tuesday or Wednesday of this upcoming week here. So let's get the latest on Cindy here. Aircraft found Cindy moving quickly northwestward. Because Cindy's moving a quick mover here, that is awesome for Bermuda if it is going to be impacted here. Be shown by the cone here. It's making a beeline for Bermuda here, heading just probably to the south and east of Bermuda by at least maybe 100 to 200 nautical miles. So that's good news. As you know, the eastern side of these storms are the dangerous side. The north and eastern quadrants are dangerous. If you're on the west side, you're more on the clear and dirty side, which is, it's not as dangerous, the weaker side. And so that's also factoring into Bermuda's favor. Another thing too to note that is also in June and July, a lot of these storms tend to curve around the Bermuda High whenever they go this direction anyway. Whenever they head northwest, they tend to miss the continental United States or clip the Outer Banks if they do, and then head out to sea. So that's awesome news. Now, as far as the positioning, as you can see, the max sustained wind is 60 miles an hour, so it's a healthy tropical storm. A strong tropical storm. It will continue to move at a brisk pace. But another thing too is the tropical storm force winds don't extend out that much from the center. Tropical storm force winds only extend out up to 60 miles from the center, according to the National Hurricane Center. So it's a very small and compact storm, and you can see it here on the courtesy of tropicaltidbits.com. I'm going to show you the satellite view here, infrared view of Cindy, and you can see here it is a very compact storm here as it loads here. You can see here right here it's definitely got a lot of convection on all quadrants here, but it is impacted a little bit by some wind shear. Wind shear has been heavy, moderate to heavy around this area, but convection is there, and it's still holding its own in spite of going through all of this wind shear here as it continues to fight that southwesterly wind shear. As you can see it bossing up here across here. So it's fighting southwesterly wind shear. It's still moving to the northwest at 21 miles an hour. So it's moving very fast, but it's still holding its own, and that's what the Hurricane Center has noted, and the pressure is holding its own despite all that. As you can see, heavy convection there, coldest cloud tops in white there in purple. You can around the center. That's what you want to see in a developing tropical system. Unfortunately, like I said, it's in warm waters. That's helping it to keep its strength. Warm waters, relative 82 degrees Fahrenheit and above, and that's helping it to maintain its strength. However, what it has going against is, once again, heavy southwesterly wind shear in the direction of it, heading towards the Bermuda High, and heading toward Bermuda means it's going to miss all of that and miss the continental United States and Bahamas, and just basically head out to sea here as a strong tropical storm. Now, we did have another system that looked like to be Don, that was coming out to be Don, but that tropical wave fell behind here. I'm going to show you the general view here. That fizzled out here. It was way too south latitude. If you remember yesterday I mentioned that this being way south latitude parallel with northern Brazil, basically, that it was just going to fall apart, and because the dust layer, Saharan dust layer down here is much higher content and strong, and it's dry, dusty air, so it fell apart. That didn't become Don, and so the next name, Invest or tropical depression, or Don, so it didn't become Don is the next name on the list, so we're still waiting on that. A quick check of the Eastern Pacific. We have one area of disturbance given a 30% chance of development. The Eastern Pacific is another area that should be heating up in terms of tropical activity in the next coming weeks here, but because the El Nino hasn't been as strong, it's just starting to make a comeback. We'll see how that plays into the oscillation, but right now it's been given a high chance of development and 90% the chance of development in 7 days And so be on the lookout for that. In the Central Pacific and Hawaii, all was clear. Just typical surfing type weather there. Now I want to go to the national weather hazards here, courtesy of Pivotal Weather, of course, and the National Weather Service. Most of the things pretty much have to do with this big ridge of high pressure that Texas, Oklahoma, and the Red River Valley have been stuck. The Rio Grande Valley have been stuck in, prompting these in purple as excessive heat warnings. Temperatures can feel anywhere from 110 to 120 degrees. And then, of course, in the orange, you have your heat advisories, just for typical heat-related illnesses. And from New Orleans all the way up the Mississippi River Delta, back through the Red River Valley there, and the also down in the Rio Grande and New Mexico. So that's typical as well. But there is a flash flood warning to be mindful of in the southern Arizona Rim country. So if you're in Tucson, Sierra Vista, head toward those areas just south of Phoenix and the Grand and those areas, you want to watch out for flash flooding there, as rain showers have helped to ease some of the showers there. And also in the flood watch in Montana, Big Sky country, you want to be careful there. Some of the snow melt is taking place from the high chains and the Bitterroots and draining down into the fertile valleys there, eastern Montana and those areas there. So if you're in Cut Bank, Havre, south of there, and those areas, you want to be careful heading into that zone. Also, we have a tornado watch. This is a brief tornado watch for western Minnesota. So if you're west of Bemidji and all of those areas, and eastern North Dakota. So if you're in Fargo, heading down I-29 toward the Fargo River Valley there, you want to be careful. There is a tornado watch in effect. Usually this lasts throughout the night. But elsewhere, things look absolutely fabulous. If you're in the East Coast, there was some brief showers in the Northeast and all of that. And, of course, in the Mid-Atlantic, there was showers and some down south. But these are popcorn variety showers, and they don't anticipate anything growing that significantly anymore here. So, once again, we're looking at the satellite loop of Cindy here. And I want to point out one more thing on Cindy here is the water vapor. And this is very crucial to tell you what's going on in front of the storm and what's going on behind the storm. And typically here, where you can see the water vapor bubbling up here, you can see there's a bunch of composite here. You see there's a bunch of dry air here above the system. That system will be running into a couple hundred miles northeast of Puerto Rico. This darkness represents dry air. The lightness represents moisture on this scan here, this particular scan. So it's going to be running into dry air. That's why it's not going to intensify to a hurricane, but it may get to hurricane status, after it passes this briefly. But it's going to maintain its strength as a tropical storm. But once it hits that dry air, it's going to be some weakening going on, even though we have all this convectioning. And then we have the wind shear coming, that southwesterly wind shear, as you can see it bending through here. So we have a dry air slot, we have southwesterly wind shear, and we also have not to mention, have some internal structural changes that this system is going to be going through, this tropical storm. Most of the convection is to the north and the east, and has been blown away from the center, and that will continue. The center will be exposed as it heads through this dry air, and that will continue to promote keeping it at the same strength or even weakening come Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. So that's what's going on with Cindy. We've covered all the tropics and the hazards for today and for this weekend. Have a blessed weekend. Please be sure to subscribe to the Weather Guru as we break it down one step at a time for the everyday common weather observer. Thank you very much. Have a great afternoon and evening.